BIC episode number 160. If y'all knew the conversation we were having before I hit record, and trust me, it'll come up again somehow.
Cookies.
I don't know how we wound up where we wound up, but we wound up there. Regardless, more to become on the Patreon. We don't have a Patreon, but if we did, it would totally be there. Regardless, we'll do a little 2025 year in review, some randomness. Brandon and Eric will both rejoice that their teams have found something. Or Eric, pretending he suddenly likes the footballs. I don't know. That's a weird Boston Bruins looking logo, but we'll talk about that. So the year in review 2025, looking a little bit ahead to 2026, and some randomness. The last episode of the year has to include some randomness. That and more in this episode of the BIC podcast. Under the watchful eyes of Brett Favre, and maybe Brett Favre can save us all, because we need some saving. We'll get to all that in a minute. We'll get there when we get there. All right, let me start off with this. I'm going to do some comments from last week, so thank you all for participating. Always, you're welcome to put in the comment section there, and we'll try to respond to it the following week. So we got a couple comments from last week's episode. Josh here, as a point of comparison, I placed a CompC order on December 1st with an estimated ship date of January 8th. Currently 491,000 items ahead of my order. My date hasn't changed yet, but I expect it to, and more than likely it did. Mike Ham here says, Golden is hilarious. What a dork. Eric for hobby vice president. Woohoo. There you go. Very enthusiastic with a woohoo to finish the comment. There you go. So thank you, Ham. Dan here says, Dan's Vintage Baseball PC says, PSA psyops just sound so cheap and thin when Golden drops them. No, that sound, that thin sound is the high-pitched sound of success versus the dull thud of failure of an SGC slab.
I was thinking it had the little tiny onus in it,
Listen, it's a Honus Wagner. If you notice, that was a Honus Wagner, and Golden decided to send it to the PSAs instead of the SGCs. Like I said, it could have been the dull thud of disappointment, the dull thud of unrealized potential, Eric, the dull thud of like clunk. It's got a little extra, it happens. But thank you, Dan. Appreciate you. And then Refractor Jones with a comment. So, Paw Patrol, advantages of having a little guy in the house. See, somebody else got the Paw Patrol reference. So, thank you, Refractor Jones. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody in the comments leaving a comment. So, thank you as always. All right. So, we'll get into a couple of things here. Let me do the results of last week's Silly Card of the Week. We had, I believe the final total ended up being, I just want to confirm that this is still right, 55 votes. So, a good, strong turnout. So, thank you all for participating in that. Appreciate it. Now, let me go in here and grab the correct window. And for that one, we did, here we go. I'll minimize that. Here we go. So 55 total votes, and your results are as follows. Boom. Lunchtime. With the
ketchup bottle.
With the ketchup bottle. Got 58% of the popular vote. Let's Go got 20%, and Judge has just slightly ahead of it with the Paw Patrol at 22%. It was actually pretty close for a little bit there, but then Lunchtime did pull away. Apparently people were really hungry. Literally very hungry. So thank you all. We count all the votes. It is the only true democracy in this world. We will have a community post, as always, this week upcoming. Now, I can see from this week's Silly Card of the Week candidates that some individuals decided to take this in different ways. So we'll get into that. Some people are reaching for lowest common denominator. Some people questionably don't understand what silly card means, but we'll get into all that. All right, Brandon, explain yourself.
So I just felt bad for this poor guy. You can see he is a pitcher. And I looked the guy's stats up. Poor Steven. 4 career hits. He's a pitcher. Do you see where the baseball is? It looks like mom dropped him off at a little league baseball field for picture day. And they're like, here, Steven, take the bat. And then somebody just tosses a ball and expects him to pretend like he's hitting it. He's had 4 hits. 2 of them was his first year in the minor leagues, by the way. And then, of course, there's his name.
I'm about to say, we're not going to...
And then, of course,
I was going to say, this is all well and good. This is a lovely distraction from the
that
actual reason you picked this.
I could have just said, this is silly because of his name. But no, the card in itself is silly. The guy, 1989, I believe he was drafted in like 84, 85. And he had 4 hits. 4. And this is picture day. Go out there and hit the ball, Steven. We're going to throw it at your hat level. Hit the ball. Nonsense.
Eric, he's trying to convince us he got Playboy for the articles. He's literally just there's a whole explanation built into all this.
Is it not silly though? That's my point.
We know the angle he took on this. There is only one angle he took on it.
He might have sharded when that ball came at him.
There we go.
He might.
All right. Moving on.
That was
all right, Eric.
By the way, I will give you credit for that analogy. That was very, very good.
I will appreciate the effort is what I'll give. All right, Eric. So just to be clear, I'm going to explain something. Eric, before I let you give your explanation, again, I will reiterate what I said before we hit record. If this autograph on this card was proportionally sized to the window, would it qualify to you as a silly card of the week?
No.
Okay, go ahead. Make your pitch now.
It is silly that the window takes up 3/4 of the card. And the autograph is his initials and teeny tiny letters. And the fact that they went, yeah, okay, we're still going to make this card and send it out and put it in packs, I think is very silly. I think this is absolutely ridiculous looking. When I saw it at work today, I went, that is what I'm putting in for silly card of the week. This is silly. What is it? There's 33 of them out there.
No, that's 99.
Is that like, yeah?
It's the stamping is a little awkward, but it is out of 99. Yeah.
Okay. So there's 99 of them. This is just ridiculous. Now I could go into a huge rant about the players and these modern day players. I've done that before. They all suck. But this is, I mean, look at the canvas. Do you ever see the artists who you go to a museum and it's just a white canvas on the wall and they say, the title of this work is Forest Through the Trees. And, this represents a woman's struggle and, it's nonsense. And this is nonsense.
What I'm hearing is, Brandon, is that Eric does not appreciate fine art. But also, I should add that this is actually by Anthony Richardson. So the card is a rookie endorsement. Anthony. Yeah, I was going to say, this is actually a supersized Anthony Richardson autograph compared to his norm.
And I would like to point out, it's not nonsense enough to not be correctly placed in a one-touch.
Mm.
Didn't think I wouldn't notice, Eric.
It's not mine. It's
You could have corrected it, Eric, if you really felt that strongly about it.
I should just go throw it in the trash. That's what I should do. But it's like $49. So it's obviously worth something, but this is embarrassing. It's just silly. And again, I could go on a 20-minute rampage on these modern day athletes.
Oh, the problem that I have is, Brandon, is whenever Eric is talking about the modern day athlete, he starts with Willie O'Ree. He goes, "These modern day athletes, I hate these guys." It's unbelievable.
By the way, I will be seeing Willie in like 2 weeks.
Does Willie know?
I was going to say.
Yes, he is aware.
That was a hesitation and a laugh, Eric. I don't know if Willie knows. I don't think anybody let Willie know. Is Willie aware?
Yes, Willie is aware that he'll be seeing me again in 2 weeks.
Is he aware that the restraining order is expired? All right, moving on.
Well, no, hold on. That restraining order in Canada last month. It doesn't count down here.
Whatever you say. Anyway, moving on. So Whitey Herzog here from 1958 Topps. If you look at Whitey's eyes here, he's trying to figure out Eric's silly card of the week. You can tell through the glasses. He's trying to figure it out right now as we speak.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Did Whitey have transitional lenses before transitional lenses?
That's what so Brandon, this is one of my favorite things about this card. I do kind of wonder. Because obviously there were players that had glasses on during the 50s and you'd see them in some of the cards. But yeah, you can see there's a tint. Like there's very clearly a tint. It's not the darkest tint, but there does appear to be a tint. It's kind of interesting. It's like, what was going on here? I have questions. I do have some questions going.
I think Whitey was smoking the marijuana.
Eric, this works on levels. See, this is why art can have layers.
Yeah.
Layers. So unlike Brandon trying really hard to come up with layers, it's like he was trying to formulate layers in the first one, and then you were talking about abstract art and everything. Whitey Herzog here is open to interpretation.
I
Yeah.
was not trying to create layers. I was trying to just point out the fact that the card was sillier than just the obvious namesake. That just sent the icing on the cake.
Playboy in the articles. I think that
So
perfect.
yeah. So anyway, so kind of playing into, so we've got a little bit of the vintage. So actually, this kind of plays into both your normal thing. We got a little bit of the vintage, and then this is the Washington Senators.
Mhm.
So eventually, there was a team that returned to Washington, not the Senators, but this is the historical one. That's right. Classic. So there you go. Whitey Herzog, 1958 tops.
To Eric, this is a normal size bat.
Oh yes, Eric. So Brandon, are we sure? Given Eric's proclivities to not understand the sizing of it, was the issue with the Anthony Richardson was that the autograph was bigger than the space, and Eric just wasn't sure. Or what if the card was 50 feet wide and then Anthony Richardson autograph is bigger than Eric's body? How do we know?
Couldn't sign it any larger, or he would have ran out of.
Like he literally physically could not sign it any bigger than that, and Eric is sitting there. He's like, I can't quite make it out. It's like, we can't even fit this card inside this building.
It was actually a billboard on the side of Interstate 95. So, yeah, I used it. I just said it was a card. It's really a billboard.
Yeah, could be.
However,
So regardless,
I do want to ask. Here's a question to pose. And one was recently pulled, the Babe Ruth out of Allen and Ginter, the cut auto.
Okay.
Why in the hell do they make those windows so large? Because it's like that one on the Anthony Richardson, but then they're only cutting a little strip of paper to put in there.
Brandon, are you saying that what they should have done is taken the card and just physically cut the window down to the size?
They could do some effort on that. I mean, it's a Babe freaking Ruth. Like,
Yeah,
wait,
amazing.
it's tops though. It's top. I'm not even getting
if
into
they
that
have a Babe
conversation.
Ruth cut auto, it should be absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So you'll have a community post on the channel, so you can make your selection. You'll be able to pick your favorite. We count every single vote. The only true democracy in this world. Vote early, vote often, make it happen. Another week at the silly card of the week. All right. So that leaves us with pickups. Now, I've got a couple that I'm going to include. So I'll share these off the top, and then we'll kind of get into it from there. And you guys are more than welcome to share any that you might have. So I've got two PC items, both purchased. One purchased on the eBays, and then the other one was purchased on Fanatics Live last night. So we got a recent pickup here. And there is a little backstory to the second one. So I'll share these first off the top, and then I'll open up to you guys. So the first one is one that should be coming directly to me. This one is from Sweet Shot. This is 2007, 2008, I believe. And this is Sweet Stitches dual jersey pieces on there out of 50. Nothing too crazy, but Playing Days Medano, decent price, local seller, so I'll get that coming my way. I try to add these where I can, especially if the price is reasonable. So they were able to take an offer that I was accepting of. Great. Happy to add that. Still chipping away and working on my Medano collection over the years. So small thing. Second one is actually, as I said, from Fanatics Live. And this one has a little bit of a backstory to it as well. So first, we got the Chosen Rosen.
Oh, yeah.
And unlike Eric, this one is Stars and Stripes. America.
America.
We got
First
some of that
off
going
the
on.
line, I believe.
Yeah, so we got the 2018 Panini National Treasures, the Stars and Stripes, numbered to 15, patch, autograph, on-card autograph. And Josh Rosen used the white space and filled it in
Yeah, he did.
with all the pen. Now, this one was, I said, on the Fanatics Live. But, Eric, this has been on Fanatics platform for a while. Originally, it was there as a buy it now best offer. And the seller had the crazy notion that he thought it was $300 US, and all of us laughed. We laughed a hearty laugh. We dare say something defective. Yes.
Yes.
But bless this soul, he did actually list it on the auction thing. He actually flashed it onto the auction for the last weekly Fanatics Live kind of weekly auction. And I did win the bidding war. I didn't quite mega bid, but he had it for $300. I won it for about 60 with the juice. So still way more than anybody should pay for Josh Rosen, but somebody else was bidding. So obviously they appreciated the Stars and Stripes America. So what do you want?
Was it Josh Rosen?
It might be, but I outbid him.
Okay.
So take that, Josh Rosen.
$60 for Josh Rosen. There you go.
Yep.
Well, he's home all by himself. You tell me he couldn't have played in Indy this year?
I think there's an opportunity to miss, Brandon. An opportunity to truly miss. Maybe instead of bidding on Fanatics Live, he should have been out there. He could have competed with 44-year-old
grandfather.
He went and got himself a degree and is like,
boy, he's working on an MBA, Eric. So he might become the captain of industry still.
Okay.
That's still in play.
All right.
Yeah. So maybe after he's done his schooling, then he can afford to win his own National Treasure Stars and Stripe RPA.
Okay.
So another one for the Chosen Rosen PC. Says, I continue to build it up into the greatest PC of this guy kind of sucks. This side of the Boston Bruins.
That's not nice.
Well, I'll go next, and I'll keep it on theme for America. I was able to get with my Dalen Lyle and my camera that does not like to focus.
No, your camera.
Yeah, I was going to say. Serious lack of focus.
This is the camo out of 25. So, the Memorial Day for America. And then I also was able to get a True Gold out of 50 auto. And then I won one tonight. God knows when it'll be here because it's got to go to authentication. But I was able to win the Black Refractor auto out of 10. So
very nice, very nice.
I think that might be one of the last ones I'd pick up. I've curated a pretty decent collection of him at this point. So
very nice. Eric, what have you for us?
Well, as I've talked many times about, I love collecting Gordie Howe autos. I have a lot of Gordie Howe autos. I will have more before I die when I can get them at good prices. So for $20, best offer on the eBay, I have yet another Gordie Howe to Brian, or does that say hi? Hi, Brian. Best wishes, Gordie Howe. So I have yet another Gordie Howe auto to add to the collection. Why I keep buying these, I'm not entirely sure, but I keep buying them.
So let it be noted, Brandon, that is Gordie Howe of Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, not America.
Not America. No, that's Gordie Howe. Good old Canadian boy right there. I also have I think you guys, you young people that collect modern day cards call this a rainbow.
He speaks of the youths.
I have this card here.
Yep. Which is 98.99 Bowman Best.
And that is the Ray Bourque Scotty Bowman. I then have the Ray Bourque Scotty Bowman Refractor. See how it does the shiny thing? That's the refractor.
Ooh.
Eric is learning about the refractors.
Yes, I'm getting better. And now Eric has
the atomic,
the super sparkly refractor, the atomic refractor. So I have what you young kids call the rainbow on that one. Mm-hmm. So unless there's an autograph one I don't know about, I don't know. But so yeah, we'll go to the Ray Bourque collection. I thought that was, it was available at the store, so I'm like, all right, why not? Last two, I got another 1969 autograph, former Bruin Charlie Burns, on a 69 card. So I got that autograph, and a PSA 6 of Bruins legend Ed Westfall. And Ed Westfall was also the first captain of the New York Islanders. And I am one card away. I want to find a good copy of it. I could get a junky one in a heartbeat. A good copy of it, but I am one card away of the 1966 Bruins team set. So
there you go. Those are this week's pickups. And also, speaking of the Bourque, obviously the next live stream that'll be on the channel. So we're recording this on Monday. Episode will drop on Tuesday. It'll be Wednesday evening will be the New Year's Eve episode. I did actually do a little digging into it. So Eric and I will have a conversation offline. I did find out what the deal is. I was curious, Brandon, what the rules were behind attaching a charity thing to like a live stream, because I know you can do it. but it's just I wasn't curious. I was curious about what the rules were. Apparently, need 10,000 subscribers. So Eric, we need all the bots. So we're gonna need some bots to subscribe in order to allow us to have that. So
we'll just go PayPal.
yeah, we don't have. Yeah, so what we'll end up doing is we'll end up doing the PayPal similar to last time. We'll include all the information and everything off the top. So we'll figure out all the details and get that included. It'll be done the old-fashioned way, and you just have to make sure that Eric doesn't run away and spend it all on chocolate sticks.
Well, I think we will, before the thing starts, we'll again, just for people's sake, we'll go over what happened last year. We'll show the picture of me handing Ray the check, just to, remind people that this is on the up and up, and we'll discuss it a little bit. And hopefully people will be generous as they were last year.
So I just want to make sure that legally we are clear on this.
Yes.
Is the check... Is that one separate from the restitution?
But look, Brandon, what I'm going to do is I think what'll help here is I think a character reference, maybe a assistance, because we are asking a lot here. So maybe we'll use a character reference here. Let's try this one.
Carlos, hey, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley. I know I don't know you, but can I ask you a favor? Can you do something about this guy? Get him away from me. What a pain in the... Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Just do something. Thanks.
All right, so maybe that wasn't the one that I should have used.
So just to be clear, Mick didn't say I was a crook or a cheat. He just said I was a pain in the ass. Now that's different. You should still send me money. Okay? Because he didn't say he's a crook or a cheat.
TBD.
Oh yeah.
TBD.
So this money is going for a very good cause, right? The
Yes.
Ray Bourque Charity.
The
Right.
Ray Bourque Family Foundation, yes.
Okay. I just am curious because the people are going to want to know.
Okay.
We want to do right by Ray and for the work he does and the charity and all of that, right?
Yes.
The goal is to help earn and donate as much as possible, right?
That would be the goal, yes.
So realistically, what
Yes.
amount would it take for each spoonful of mayonnaise?
No, none. 10,000, 100,000, a million.
Is Ray
Aaron,
not
what
worth
about
it?
cups of coffee? Because now we've got multiple options.
I will drink a coffee for money. I will hate it. I will grimace and
That Eric, all we want is your pain. I mean, charity. We want charity. Your pain is a bonus.
I tried.
I would absolutely hate every sip of it, but I could get it down without regurgitating. I can't even think about doing the first thing you said. I can the words to make my brain think of what you said.
All right, so we're TBD on that. What I will do though, is I will leave a link in the description to this podcast episode to the Ray Bourque Family Foundation, so that you guys can actually look into it ahead of time if you would like to. So we will provide that information so that you can check it out. We did do this for last year's New Year's Eve episode. So if you want, I will also leave a link to last year's New Year's Eve episode. So you're more than welcome to watch a very dumb man be on a bicycle for a very long time inside his house. I won't say who, but somebody did do that, and I have the video evidence, Brandon. I have the video evidence to offer.
So I know people want to see me suffer.
Yes, we do. I mean, the people do.
I'm
Yes.
saying this out loud.
It's for a good cause, Eric.
Yes, it's for charity.
I'm saying this out loud for the first time. My goal. Oh my God, this is going to suck. My goal is to do 50 miles live on the YouTubes.
Now, approximately
Like-
how long do you think this will take?
Which year?
I can do 40 in 2 hours. It takes a lot out of me at 20 miles an hour for 2 hours straight. That is a very strong effort. I'll probably have to go a little slower to maintain it, but I'm thinking about 2.5 to 3.
Brandon, I bet if we got the good coffee, I bet we could get it done in 45 minutes. It's just flat.
It might. would it go quick? Hey, so the rule is you're not allowed to take breaks, right?
Unless I have to urinate or do something else.
Oh, damn. Because I was going to say the coffee would make you have to pee really bad, and you would be pedaling the hell out of that bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the good news, Brandon, is if we get the good stuff, he'd be pedaling at like 147 miles an hour. So, you know, he might be done by the time he'll keel over after, but it might be good.
I don't plan on stopping unless I have a bathroom emergency.
Mm.
And then
I
I
see.
will do it and come right back and keep going. But that's
Brandon, we'll workshop this. I'm percolating ideas.
That's the only reason I think I should stop is a bathroom emergency.
I'll percolate on this. We're working out ideas. We're workshopping it. We're approaching it, but you know, we'll get there. So more to come on that story.
So if you have to stop for a bathroom emergency, should that constitute a foul of a spoonful of mayo?
No.
You know, Brandon, for a Santa Claus looking man with the beard, you sure are, you know, trying to get on the naughty list permanently. He's going straight for it.
I'm just workshopping it. Like you said.
Yeah, workshopping. You know, kicking around ideas. Yeah. All right. So like I said, I'll include the information in the description. We'll work it out. Anyway, so that's something you can look forward to. That'll be the next live stream after this podcast episode drops. That'll be the New Year's Eve special episode. So we always have that. Okay. So real quick, one more thing before we finish up, because I do want to touch on it. It's not technically a pickup, Brandon, but I think it'd be worthwhile. I think it'd be a funny story to quickly tell. So you took advantage of a coupon for a binder. Do you want to quickly talk to us about the binder thing? Because that'd be kind of funny.
So shout out, I will give credit where credit was due. Dakota in the Discord shared a link, I believe it was Saturday, on these top loader binders. And they were half price. Nice. Carlos had shared it before. Said they were really good quality and everything. And I used something similar to this, but it doesn't take top loaders. And I was like, $12, 12 and change a piece. I was like, that's not bad. So my wife was like, how many do you want? I was like, I don't know. She's like, well, 8 of them's $100. I said, all right, give me 8 of them. They arrived today, very quickly, by the way. And I pull it out and I'm like, holy shit, this is huge. I have all these shelves back here and they don't fit on the shelf. Even this way, it won't fit on the shelf.
Jesus.
So I am, now I'm contemplating exactly what I'm going to do with them. I like the zipper aspect of it. I like that you can put the top loaders in there. Mm-hmm. I had ideas of, making them into little collections, but I might just have to stick with the ones I already use.
So we were talking about this. I might recommend, and by the way, folks, we can talk more about this in the new year, because the reality is there's a million different ways you can house your cards. And there is no wrong way. It's whatever works for you is perfectly fine. You want to use binders, use binders. You want to use boxes, use boxes. I've seen so many variations, so many concepts and everything. And make sure you do the one touch right side up. But every other variation is perfectly fine. I actually got, Brandon, I'll show a picture of it later. There are these 6 drawers. So it's BCW. So Eric's best friend for life, Timmy Two Hats, is with the BCWs. And they've got, I think they call it like it's like a closet. No, it's like this. It's like a 6 drawers. It's basically 6 drawers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I actually have purchased 2 of those. I've purchased 2 of those. So I'm going to be organizing my Medano collection into these 2 6-drawer things for a lot of the stuff that I had in the boxes previously, because I like the fact you can slide out the drawers. I'll show it off and everything. I'll show a picture of it. Maybe I'll do it in editing. I'll show a picture of it on the screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's 6 drawers, and basically you can fit in one touches, top loaders, and regular cards and put it. So I've got stuff that's sitting in those cardboard boxes, but that also allows me to kind of organize it. And you've got a slot on the front of it where you can put a card inside of a top loader and kind of use it to mark off different years, brands, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. And they're actually attachable. So the 6-drawer thing, you can actually attach them to each other and in turn make a whole kind of drawer system with it. That is one way you could do it. Or you could do it with binders, or you could do whatever. So in the example Brandon's doing, the 9 pocket pages is really cool, but it's gigantic. And if you fill it up, it's going to be heavy as hell. The good news is you won't need a workout. You will have a workout routine built in because you'll be able to lift that shit, especially if it's full.
It holds 346, I think is what it said, something like that.
Will it
Yeah,
hold
it's-
holders too?
That one, no, that one's
Those
not.
are even heavier.
They are, yeah. So what I would recommend though is maybe kind of a middle ground for the binder version of it. These are the 4-pocket version of the same concept. So this one will hold 128 top loaders. That's still a decent amount, especially at four per. So same concept of what he's doing, but obviously this is a little bit more manageable. This will fit inside of a lot of different shelving units. So this might be the compromise that maybe still 128 per. You can have a couple of them, and there you go. It fills it up. So that still allows it'll still be heavy, obviously, when you're filling it up with cards with top loaders, but it's still more manageable, I think, than the 9-pocket version. I like the concept of the 9-pocket. I've got a couple of those, but it is heavy when you do start filling them up. This one might be a good compromise that still gets you a lot of what you're looking for, and it lets you put your cards in your top loaders in there. So I'm not going to recommend a specific brand necessarily for you, but there are a couple different ones that have it. The one that I have used, it's on Amazon. It's called Fun Guys. They do it for a lot of TCG stuff. They're pretty good. It's like a Z Folio, but for top loaders. So, to each their own, whatever works for you. I obviously use the Z Folios. I like them, but it's not for everybody, but it is an option. And then you've also got drawer systems and stuff like that too. It's whatever works for you, man. Whatever works for you is fine. So just consider some of those options available. And again, some of them are better for one touches and top loaders, but some of them, if you got a bunch of graded cards, well, then you got to look at a different option. There are options out there for that too. So you just got to look at all the different options available to you. One other thing I was going to mention, since you did mention that it was on Dakota's Discord, obviously we talk about the Dakota's Discord all the time because Brandon and I are on it. I will mention that we're going to see a video probably not long from now. Dakota had vanished, and some people presumed he was dead. We just assumed Eric did it somehow, because usually whatever crimes happen, it's probably Eric. But there is a post on the Sports Card Anonymous YouTube's channel that he is rising like a phoenix from the ashes. So in 2026, we may get more videos from the Sports Card Anonymous. So I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel. He is reappearing for 2026.
Good. The more people in the space, the better.
Yep. So just thought I would include that on there since we did talk about it. I figured at the tail end. So it's interesting times. There's some stuff going on. And one other thing, I'm getting more information on it. I did see it on Mike Baseball Collector's page, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this. Apparently, the Strongsville card show is moving.
Mm.
Yes, I think it's going to, I think it's called Independence, Ohio. So Mike Baseball Collector apparently had received an email that was circulating. I'm getting more information. So right now, initially, all I've got is his video that he was talking about it. And apparently it's moving to a different venue. So Eric, we might have to ask the Menzie on this one, because that is kind of a big deal, because the Strongsville, he is the owner of the show, I believe still. So obviously they organize it. So it is kind of a big deal though, because the Strongsville is known as the big show of the vintage. And it will be coming in the next couple of months here, because that's in the early part of the year. And what's interesting about that, Eric, is they're moving to this location. And as part of it, I think they're kind of merging with a different card show, which means Strongsville is known as this vintage heavy show. But in the new location, they would also be combining it with some modern and the Pokemans.
Mm.
Ooh. That may make the vintage people are getting angry, Brandon. I can sense their anger. I can sense it through the screen.
Speaking of moving, I haven't heard any announcements in regards to Chantilly. And I've heard some speculations of where it's going. One, even as far as Richmond, which that would cut out pretty much most of Northern Virginia. But I haven't heard any official announcements of where it's going to be either. So,
yep. So like I said, what I'm saying really is that right now, early days on that. I will get verifications. I did see Mike's video on it, but I'm obviously going to look into more details, and maybe we'll reach out, because at least we do know some folks associated with that. So we'll find out a little bit more. But it is an interesting choice, because then, and I of course read the comment section and I get a kick out of it. If in fact, based on what I'm hearing, they're going to move it to that spot, but if they're also combining it with this other segments of the show that are obviously outside of the vintage realm, well, then it's just basically like any other card show. It's not the whole thing with the Strongsville. The gimmick basically was that it was really vintage heavy, like super vintage heavy. And it had kind of its niche based on that. And it had been growing with a lot of the YouTube folks that partake in the vintage. But if you incorporate those other elements, Brandon, from business perspective, that makes sense, because the Pokemans is still pretty hot, and those other categories are still going to bring in people into the show, so to speak. and then you can have a bigger venue for that. But then it's not really different than any other show. Then it's basically just a show in Ohio, like any other show you could have anywhere else in the country, like the Philly show, like this show, like that show. What's the difference?
And just something, I mean, this is all hypothetical. No, there's no, like, it hasn't been stated or anything, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. It's early days.
But
We literally heard about it hours ago.
merging with the other aspects,
Mhm.
and depending on where the venue is, it could raise table prices, which may turn some of the vintage folks away.
Could be.
So
So I think some interesting stuff because the Strongsville show had carved out a niche for itself. So the next show is scheduled to be, I believe, in April. I'm just looking at the site right now. Now, one other thing, Eric, going back to our theme of the last couple of weeks. If you're going to do this, it's one thing to have an email circulating to give people a heads up. Totally get that. But if the show's coming up in April and you're making plans and you've got hotel bookings and such, then you kind of have to let people know now, because in reality, it's only like April's 4 months away.
Right.
Like it's approaching rapidly. Like it's going to be, we're going to head into the new year. We're going to click on to January, and before you know it, boom, there you are. So you kind of have to let people know, especially if they've already got hotel bookings. So now the question is going to be how long until they actually get the word out officially, rather than just indirectly through one of these messages. So I'm curious.
You know, as somebody who goes away for a major show every year, you know, it's important that I know, you know, where and when and all the information well in advance so I can make plans in regards to getting there. I got to get my hotel room. I have to get time off from work. My wife, who comes with me the last few years, she needs to get time off, you know, whatever the situation is. So, you know, you need to give people more than like, a month heads up on these major events.
the time off work part, I question.
I was being,
I think Eric's speaking in hypotheticals.
yeah,
For people who do work.
I'm speaking in general.
yeah.
I might not even go to work tomorrow. I might wake up and be like, I'm not in the mood.
Mm,
Well,
mm,
we'll see.
Well,
I think so.
so you made a statement earlier when you were showing your Borkies. You said they were at the shop. And it made
Yes.
me question.
Uh-huh. What question do you have?
You're either overpaid
Uh-huh.
or
Or go ahead. Here it comes.
do you go there just as an extension of your hobby?
This is Eric at work. He's like,
Yeah.
Eric comes in. Eric's come in. So after all his biking, he's so thin, and he walks out. He's the Michelin Man.
Yeah, I for some reason Phil strip searches me at the end of every shift. I don't understand. I think because he likes me, but maybe it has something to do with this. Might be some concerns about sticky fingers. I'm not sure.
Look, I'm just saying we haven't cracked the Dallas Card Show heist case yet, and I'm not saying we're looking in any particular direction, but I have my list of suspects. Allegedly. Just saying. So bottom line, Brandon, I just thought I would bring it up since it is something that I literally heard about a couple hours ago. I do think it's relevant, though, because there are a lot of folks in the vintage that, like I said, the show is scheduled to be in April, and I expect they're going to follow the scheduling. But that means you don't have a lot of time to turn around and get that information out the door. Like, even if you get it out in the next week or two, that means a lot of folks that have the hotel booking, that's kind of what Mike was getting people out to, just to let them know. Because apparently the location, it's not like the location is 500 miles away, but that still changes your hotel planning, because in the previous location, there was a hotel right beside the location of the show. So you could literally, I think, and the Strongsville guys can correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure you could just walk across the parking lot. So from that one hotel, if you went to that hotel, you could actually walk across the parking lot to go over. So that is kind of convenient, because if a bunch of you are staying in the same place, you can kind of hang out, then you can do your own impromptu trade night, and then you got the show right there. But if you got this other location, then that changes your planning completely. It changes your entire game plan and how you want to approach it. So even if, from what I understand, the new location has hotels nearby as well, but it's a little further away. So now it's a couple miles away. So now, Brandon, you're not strolling over across the parking lot anymore. Now you kind of have to plan your stuff out a little bit more.
Yeah, that's been again. I've never been to Strongsville, but mentioning the Chantilly thing, that's one of the concerns. There is that's been a very strong autograph show,
Yeah.
and it's right so close to Dulles Airport. It's been a question like, even if they move out of the Chantilly area, they're going to have to be somewhere where it's accessible because these guys, you know, Emmett Smith and those guys, they're not going to want to fly in and have to travel and all this other stuff to get to the show. Literally up there, they could hit Dulles Airport. It's right up the street. That's the Expo Center, and it was very convenient. So um, it'll be interesting to see whether I've heard rumors of a mall. I've heard Richmond. Like I've heard all these different places, but there's not been anything confirmed. So anytime any of this, I mean, I guess it's good to see change, I guess, for the hobby's sake, but it definitely, when it's something that's been long term and people have gotten used to it, it does throw a wrench into things. So
Yeah. So that's why I say it's still early days. I will get some verifications on this as well. Right now, currently, the only information I had was what Mike offered because he had apparently he was in the loop on kind of the email chain, I guess, as part of that. So good. So good that he's getting the information out there. So we'll try to confirm ourselves in terms of contacts that we have as well to get a little bit of info. I'm not there and I'm not going to be going there, but that does completely change the dynamic because the Strongsville, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, what made Strongsville unique is that they were really hyper focused on that one specific category. So that made it different. As soon as you incorporate these other elements, then it's just like any other show. Like a lot of other shows that have a combination of all there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, Eric, but then you kind of fall into the mix with everybody else because if you don't have any unique hook, then why bother going to that one versus any of these other shows that are available all over the country? And there are lots of them now, and there are more of them all the time. And Eric, we still haven't followed up on it yet, but we're going to find out. I did mention it on Big Scott's Live yesterday when I was there with him recording. Obviously, we got the 1,000-table show in Marlborough, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that today. Tomorrow I'm gonna talk to management and see, and are we or are we not gonna get a table in there? There's 1,000 tables. We've always bragging that we're the largest sports memorabilia and card shop in New England. We need to have a major presence there. It's not all that far from us. Maybe an hour's drive. We need to be there and have a presence. So I need to have that conversation tomorrow and see where things are going because I'm looking forward to that. I'm really curious of what a 1,000-table show in Massachusetts looks like because we've had Shriners, for all these years, and it's a big deal. People come from all over to go there, but it's not 1,000 tables. This will be the biggest show ever in New England, and I'm very curious how it's going to go. And we need a front row seat.
Yep. So number one, I said when I was talking to Scott, number one, there better be the Marlboro Man. Otherwise, heads are going to roll. That's number one. You can't be in Marlboro, Massachusetts without giving me the Marlboro Man, Brandon. I refuse to accept anything less. And if and when we execute it, we're gonna have to have Eric there. Boots to the ground. Maybe borderline. And I also did, Eric, you'll be pleased to know this. I'll include a link in the description of Big Scott's Live. I gave the initial first shot across the bow to let everybody know that now as we're about to roll over the calendar, this is going to be talking about 2026 briefly. As we roll over the calendar, the campaign season for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, Eric's YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame adjacency, the future that is the one-man kazoo parade. And I explained this to Scott, and I told him, Scott, I don't care what you do. And Brandon, this is a quote. I said, Scott, I don't care if you make a ballot and all you do is vote for us. Fuck everyone else. You vote for us. One-man kazoo parade. The content gods demanded, Brandon,
a 51-mile parade. Hey.
Eric, that's enough. Eric, that's enough. That's only a preview. That's only a preview. That's only a taste of the one-man kazoo parade. I got plans, people. I got plans. The content gods will be pleased. They will shine upon us. But we need to make this happen. So, Eric, I just wanted to make sure we touched on that because The campaign season is nigh. It is nigh.
I need this, people. I have nothing in my life. I hate
Really, he has nothing.
Show. I hate the people I do the show with. I hate pretty much everybody. This is all I have. I need in my life to tell people that I've achieved Hall of Fame adjacency.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. It is up to you to help me get there. Help a poor soul. If we just came from the most charitable season on the calendar, let it spread.
Mm-hmm. Brandon, and people claim that at the end of the year things slow down. Oh, Brandon, things are about to accelerate. New heights. New heights.
Help me achieve
Indeed.
something in my life. 51 years. I've achieved nothing. Nothing.
Less than nothing. Less than nothing.
And nothing. This is all I have. This is my last shot of making leaving a mark other than what I do in my underwear. This is my last
Didn't need that.
Leaving
Didn't
a
need
mark.
that.
So people will know I existed. Please help me.
An
The
impassioned
man's
plea.
company has been acquired for.
Yeah, it really is.
What else is he going to do?
Like I said, Brandon, people think it slows down in the holidays. No. Acceleration on to the next level. So that is fair warning or a threat. Either way, campaign season is upon us. It's happening. All right. So real quick. So we got that covered. Okay. So like I said, I'll follow up on some of those other topics we were talking about. And if we got any updates in the next couple of weeks, we will let you know. But obviously it is worthwhile noting. Some things that are worthwhile noting either way. Okay, so what I want to do is I do want to touch on, I'm going to quickly highlight this. This is just to give you a bit of a taste, because as we're recording this, I haven't recorded my year end. So I'm just give everybody a heads up. Obviously, we're recording this on the 29th, so this is going to drop on the 30th. So what I'm going to be doing, Brandon, normally I do my goals video, would have been the first one, and I was a little late on my other video. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to combine the goals video and kind of the year in review thing. So I'm going to give you guys a bit of a taste of the year in review. This is just the year in review in this channel. And obviously we could probably get a couple of things more, but I just want to give you a quick highlights. So let me go through some of these and we'll stop on a few, but I do want to touch on, this is just to tell you how ridiculous the year 2025 was in terms of the content, because all I did was just go through the videos on this channel. I didn't cover everything, but I still covered, a bunch of stuff that I thought was worthwhile through the course of the year. So let me touch on a few here. Back in February, because that was this year, the Backyard Breaks controversy with Backyard Grant and his, let's say, questionable comments. That was this year. That was in February of this year. We're discussing that. In February, PSA changed their centering standard. A lot of people made a hubbub about that. We forget about it, Brandon, because there was 5,000 controversies ago, but people made a hubbub about that. That was a big deal at the time. February was the first time that Probstein announced his new platform. This will return later. Back to that, but that was in the month. Brandon, February, we were off to flying start earlier this year.
It took him almost a whole year to screw up that bad.
Brandon, the beauty of being able to go back through the archive is that I can actually I have dates on some of this stuff exactly almost to the week that it was going on. That was in the month of February too. Also in the month of February, Whatnot no longer allowed buyers access to past live streams, the little recordings, so that people could catch clips of people doing shady business. That was back in February of this year. That was in 2025. March the 2nd. All right, March the 2nd. Now this one's a big one, Brandon. This is huge. There's no other way I can convey it. March the 2nd, the world was introduced to Cheetozard. Yes.
Which, by the way, I have not watched season 1. I have not watched season 2. I did turn on episode numero uno of season 3.
Of the Golden Touch?
And I maybe made it 15 minutes, and it was the cheesiest shit I've ever seen.
Are we talking cheesy like a Cheetozard?
Yeah. It was. If it's meant to do good and bring good to the hobby, we need to reevaluate some things.
Well, Brandon, all I can say is I can't speak to the Golden Touch, but all I can say is, Eric, Cheetozard did bring something good to my hobby. It was the beginning of a golden era. not pun intended, a golden era, the Cheetozard. The Cheetozard sold for $87,840.
Complete.
The beginning of a true golden era in this. That was in March. That was the week. So that video that we talked about, that was March the 2nd of this year.
Utter lunacy.
How hell of a start, Brandon. We're barely into the first quarter of 2025. Let me continue. March the 12th, Yahoo launched a collectibles hub. And amongst the different things that were included in the collectible, people forgot about this one because obviously no one cared. It's Yahoo in the year 2025. No one really cares. But in the collectibles hub was videos of Sports Card Investor. So that's a thing. Eric has it as his homepage, but apparently no one else did because we haven't talked about it since. But that happened in March. I have to cover it. That happened in March. That was on there. April, Ovechkin becomes the all-time NHL goals leader. The peasants rejoiced. So that happened. May 15th, we had the Rage Bait video talking about a lot of things that were going around that time. So this is in May now. We've moved up to there. June the 1st, PSA sent out a survey and opened a Boca Raton office. That's going to come back around. We're going to continue from there. That was June the 1st that week. June 21st, Fanatics Fest. So the latest Fanatics Fest was on there. July the 8th, eBay was experimenting with extended bidding. We haven't heard anything new about that recently, but that was back in July.
I've seen it pop up one time.
Yep. But that was back in July. So Brandon, this is why it's fun to have the year in review. I'm just going chronologically. I'm going from the beginning of the year forward. Between July 22nd to 24th, so kind of in that window there, we had the Hobbypalooza recap. Obviously, we participated in the Hobbypalooza thing. And SGC Pete resigns. Dun, 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 for SGC. Dun, dun, dun. There'll be more, but right now that's going on there. Late July to August, we had the National. And Baseball Collector comes on the channel to explain the YouTube get-together thing that happened. You know, the unfortunateness. They got booted out of the hotel space. So I had Baseball Collector on the channel to talk about that. August 19th here. Hobby Hotline moves to the 4 Collectors channel. And we talked about the Bench Clear Media channel becoming a ghost ship adrift. That was all the way back in August that had that one happen. August 26th, so a mere week later. The $12.9 million Jordan Kobe sale to what would become Acquire, the Shine and Mr. Wonderful venture that still continues to this day. So that was that sale. So Eric, that's a lot happening. There's a lot going on there. But as you can see, February, March, April, things were going on. It got quiet for a little bit in the summer, some stuff, and then all of a sudden we're getting to August, things are reheating back up. Things are starting to warm right back up here. We got the $12.9 million sale. September 7th, the sports card therapist reemerges. He came from the shadows and reappeared after years away. So that was a fun thing. September 12th.
Left the sanctity and safety of his car.
He did. And he reappeared briefly, and the peasants rejoice. September 12th. Eric invents Mr. Tickletron. More to come on that on the year.
That was big hobby news.
Huge.
Why didn't
More to
Topps
come on
do
the
a
year.
Topps Now card? Could you imagine? They could have 100x the hobby if they did the Topps Now card.
And I don't care what luckily, this was chronicled, and there is a standalone video for that forthcoming in the year in review. That's why, Brandon, I got the year in review covered. We got this. All right, moving on. September 17th, the Hockey Cards Gong Show repack discussion. So I had Josh from the Hockey Cards Gong Show on to talk about the repack that they ended up doing at the expo. So we got talked about that. September 30th. So now we're all the way into late September. Probstein announces his new platform will be Snipe. Snipe is officially announced. By the way, back in February, earlier, it was BID, BYD. Then it became Snipe, September 30th. Now things are about to accelerate. Things are about to accelerate here. We're about to go. All right, we're into October. October 9th, Carlos talks to Steve Angel on the Saskatchewan Card Show. So we talked about that since he did attend that one. So that was on this channel. October 14th, Carlos talks to Brad about the new PSA Canada receiving center opening, the new PSA Canada HQ in the Toronto area. So we had that. October 28th, record UD Ultimate Shield prices, throwing comps out of whack. So that was going on with the crazy, basically the offers that were being put out there for the shields.
Yeah.
All the different bounties. The bounties is what I was looking for. So we had that. October 31st, the Upper Deck president has a viral post on LinkedIn about the ills of the hobby. Eric, that was only a couple months ago. It feels like a long time ago, but it was the end. It was a Halloween time frame. November the 6th, the special episode of Dan's Vintage Baseball PC on the Beckett Schilling podcast with P. Ryan. That was at the beginning of November. November 8th, Fall Expo coverage. Had the Fall Expo coverage going on. November 20th, Beckett's goes on the Geoff Wilson show to explain himself. I may have had some fun with that. November 22nd, Sneepay collapses and Beckett is on Hobby Hotline. Hell of a lot of things going on. December 15th, mere weeks ago, Collectors announces they are acquiring Beckett. And then December 23rd, Kenny Golden juggles a Honus Wagner. And that is a very brief, high-level year in review.
Very good.
That is only what we covered on this channel, Brendan. That only scratched the surface of the sheer amount of things.
A lot more happenings.
Yes. But I wanted to stay focused on what at least we touched on, that I have either a video or a live or something. And during the course of the live, we talked about other stuff too. But I'm giving a really high level view. I wanted to touch on that. So I wanted to go through the list. So here's what I'm curious about. So let me start with you, Brandon. Out of all these, and there's a lot here. So which ones stick out to you? What, thoughts on that?
On a personal level, I think for 2025, the biggest change would be the downfall of SGC. For me personally, and I think more in the longer I've looked back at it, it sucks because being a part of something that took effort, not just on my behalf, but knowing what Pete and his team and all of that did, and helping out, as many people. Like I calculated it up, what was a couple weeks ago, and I don't remember exact number at this time, but I think we were somewhere in the neighborhood of between 30 and 40,000 cards submitted. And for some submitters, that's not a lot, but it also is a pretty substantial amount when you're talking about cards being submitted, especially when it was just me and my wife. Like we didn't have employees and stuff helping us. But to see where they're at, again today, and then the Neo interview with Ryan Hoge and him coming out saying we want them back to 2017 levels and everything, and how quickly the drop has happened, and just the change in general with like the turnaround times being longer and all of that. On a personal level, that's the most significant. Mm-hmm. So there's obviously things hobby wide, but on I wanted to give my take for me personally. So
right, I think that's fair. So Eric, there's a lot there. So it's kind of open-ended. Really, the reason I wanted to go through the list entirely is that there is so many options on that list. So there's a lot of places. Where do you want to go, and why is it Tickle Trunk?
Now, I know that you would assume that I would think the biggest news of the year would be sports card therapist leaving his car.
Tickle Trunk.
I will not be discussing Tickle Trunk on this show. Friday on a Friday show or on Wednesday, where there's nothing but lunacy and silliness. I'm sure I'll have my say.
Brandon, on the year in review, I have the button. Just saying.
But I'm not going to pick the sports card therapist finally leaving his car after all these months. I am simply going to do this. That rolling dumpster fire of a company finally collapsed and had no other choice but to sell to their biggest competitor. That is the biggest story in the hobby this year. The fact that this once beloved, cherished, number one company in the hobby, who's had their owner in prison, multiple presidents and people running it into the ground, on and off scandals, promises made PR stunts gone wrong, bad websites forever. Finally, that dumpster fire just couldn't be controlled anymore, and they had to sell to their biggest competitor. There's no bigger story. So that's what I think. This is the biggest name in the hobby since the late 80s, and we've all agreed that at one point in time the Beckett name meant something to all of us. It was important, their price guides, the magazines, the articles, the everything. When they first started grading, everything was, they were the best, cream of the crop, top of the heap. And they ended up being a complete and utter dumpster fire for the last decade. And they had to go to Big Brother and say, help us. So it's just, that's the biggest story of the year.
Brandon, I like Tough Stuff.
I did too.
Tough Stuff was
You got all the sports. I remember my first one. I think it was actually issue number 1 had Shaq on it. I do want to say, so I mentioned the SGC thing on a personal level. I think hobby wise, I can't put one above the other, but I think the autograph, that whole thing, the guy that put out the
guy that said he had 350 million. So I did have that. I did have that on the list as well. Like, I was going through it. So I do want to make a clarification here, just so that we're all on the same page. When I went through that summary, what I focused on, and this is important, what I focused on was kind of things that either had a standalone video or on the live were included as kind of right in the headline of things that we were talking about. But obviously on the live stream, Eric, so I'll give you a good example of one that wasn't included on the list, but we definitely talked about on the live, was that after the Beckett thing was the congressman there who at least wrote a letter. Now, we talked about it. It's not that it wasn't included. It was included as part of it, but it didn't have a standalone video, and it wasn't like a main focus of that, even that live stream. But we did talk about it during it. So there's other stuff that didn't make the list, but we definitely talked about during a Friday live, because it would have come up and somebody would have questioned it or brought it up in a thought, and then we would have discussed it. We also discussed, favorite movies. We discussed Eric's poor taste in music. Pink Floyd is great, by the way. These are important things. So yes, Brandon, to your point, there is a lot of other stuff that was included in there, but didn't make it the list because it wasn't in the headline.
I think that one took a lot, it grasped a lot of attention because also the timing of it being right before the National and everything.
Yep.
And then, of course, you had all of the PSA moves in a bundle here over the last, 60 days or so. That's been a constant topic. I'm going to place this not just with the act that happened, but I think we're kind of exemplifying where the hobby forgets too easily. But I think the Grant thing and the portrayal of that and the seriousness of it in reality, because, this is a space that does contain underage people, children, whether male or female. And the way that was put off, and the fact that he is whether you like him or not, he's a popular figure on a major platform. And then we had the platform basically do nothing but stay quiet. And I think that, that was a pretty big thing, because obviously it was early in the year. It was disgusting as hell, especially, there's a lot of people in this hobby that have kids. And to know that he's still there, still alive all the time, nothing really happened. That's not only a disgrace and a black eye to the hobby, but in my mind, it's a huge, I don't want anything to do with whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think on a corporate level of it,
I'll go.
I don't want anything to do with what.
I'll go a step further, and I'll probably get myself in trouble, but I don't really care. What the disgusting part isn't the corporate thing. It isn't even what he said anymore. The disgusting part is people are still going to that site every single day. People are still going to Backyard Breaks and supporting them and giving them their money and saying, I don't care about this. I only care about me. I only care about my profits, my cards, my flips, my this, my that. And the people, it was a blip on the screen. And I'm disappointed in humanity and the people who continue to use whatnot. I'm nobody, right? We know that, right? In real life, I advocate everyone to delete their app like I did, not go back, not to support the company, not to support Backyard Breaks. No one did that. Not enough people did it that mattered. And we have friends, and it's everyone's got to make their own decisions. But we have friends that still use the platform and are making money, and they chose to make money and to use that platform for their benefit instead of saying, nope, not going to do it. And that's what the majority of the people did. And then you still have thousands and thousands of others who give Backyard Breaks money.
Now, can I actually touch on one other kind of side point to that? So in the same vein as kind of what we're talking about, expanding beyond that, one of the things was obviously in the aftermath of that, again, we're giving everybody a refresher because we talked about it during the course of the year. The stuff on that list was talked about over the course of the year. That's specifically on this channel. Obviously, it was talked about in other places too, but just specifically, I'm speaking to this channel. The other thing also that I would mention that we did talk about as well is that in the aftermath of that, collectors did a couple of events with Backyard Breaks where they were doing breaking and taking submissions and doing all that stuff. So they did that. And later in the year, maybe it was like a week ago, Brandon, you can maybe refresh me on this, but there was that bit that Fanatics was doing. The Fanatics Overlords were doing the thing with the gold logo. Where they basically had a thing where all their like partnered whatever would have the gold logo on their icons. So Geoff had that. A bunch of other ones had that.
And they had,
you know what else had it? Backyard Breaks.
Yep.
Even though technically there was a while there where they were saying that Backyard Breaks didn't have any allocation or anything from any of the manufacturers and they were getting their stuff elsewhere. But Backyard Breaks participated in that logo thing, which obviously, look, I don't have more information, but it does make you go,
Yeah, and to another extreme of this, and not to change and move off of this topic, but we talk about, okay, our personal opinion, if at the very least Grant should have been banished from the hobby, like that, and we couldn't have any control of that because he could still operate the company and be
you can still make another alias or whatever, yeah.
But we keep seeing these examples, and this is where things become laughable at times on the way that the discipline action is handled amongst the hobby. To Eric's point, people are still going there spending their money, whether it's Backyard or whatnot, whichever one you want to choose to put down on that. But then we have good old Prostein and that whole shit show and the alleged shill bidding from hell that was supposedly uncovered.
And the data leak that we are all but confirmed on. Like we're pretty much.
What happens?
He's back on eBay.
Deal. Go back.
He's back on eBay.
Still list your stuff. People still going to throw money at it.
Yep.
They're still going to buy it. If they get a deal, even better. And no big deal. It's like business as usual.
I'm gonna walk a tightrope for a second, and if I cross, stop me.
Stop.
It's all about money. And people care about their money in their pockets, because we have seen comedians that told a joke 30 years ago get canceled, have their entire careers ruined. The death threats, horrible things have come to them for a joke they told 30 years ago. That doesn't cost anybody money. So they can go on the interwebs and be social justice warriors and go after people for a joke from 30 years ago. But this piece of shit says something utterly disgusting on Whatnot, but it affects people's money, we don't cancel that. We don't cancel that because if I cancel that, I won't be able to get those cards, flip them, and make money. So it's funny when it comes to the money in your pocket, you're willing to ignore something, but you're flipping through Instagram and something pops up from 30 years ago that somebody said when they were 19. That's it. Cancel them. We're gonna contact their jobs. We're gonna contact their schools. We're gonna contact their families. We're gonna harass them. We're gonna destroy their lives.
Because it's not affecting them. It's only affecting the person who said. And just something that we discussed just a couple weeks ago, to your point, the money thing, but it is so sad. And we've seen the examples of this just a few weeks ago, that all these people bitch about whatever, whether it's PSA or Fanatics or whatever. And to your point about the money, they're incapable of making decisions on their own, and they go and blame an influencer, Neo at the time, he was the point of emphasis on that one, of, well, you're not speaking up for us. And then, there was the comment made, well, maybe they don't feel like that any change would happen unless someone with a YouTube channel says something for them. That's bullshit. Because as you just said, there's people that do it all the time. Like, there's people that make change all the time. But for some reason in this space, everybody feels that somebody else needs to speak up for them. And it's just dumb. It comes down to what you said. If it's going to hurt their wallet, they don't want to accept the issues, and so they choose to ignore it because they don't want the chance that it'll hurt their wallet.
But a joke that was told 30 years ago by a 19-year-old isn't going to affect anybody today. But we're going to throw everything we have at this. We're angry. We're going to stand up to hate. We're going to stand up to what's right, and we're going to ruin this person. And we see it happen all the time. But,
so here would be kind of my thing. So I get what Eric's trying to get at with this, but I've seen a lot of times where folks will try to do campaigns like what Eric is talking about, and then other people will buy 10 times as many, and then they're canceled, but they make more money than before they were canceled. Mm-hmm. So cancellation doesn't apply. Again, going back to what Brandon's point. If we're talking about the bottom line, here's the bottom line. If getting canceled means now I'm making 10 times as much money, then being canceled is profitable. There are people who have been canceled profitably. So that means nothing. All the mean people on the internet being angry at you means nothing unless it actually affects the bottom line. That, who cares? Who gives a shit? Because that actually, what happens even more often than what Eric's talking about is the people who are canceled who make even more money now than they did before. Because they say, well, they were trying to cancel me, so hey, protect me, send me money.
Look at the jeans thing that came out with Sydney Sweeney a couple of months ago. You know how much money they made off all that hate?
So what I'm getting though, Eric, is that kind of counteracts your point. So cancellation doesn't actually work unless it actually works. It only works if their money isn't there after the fact. For a lot of these folks, again, the backyard breaks guy, as far as the response that people gave at the time, again, going back to the beginning of the year, as far as the response was, that was the closest hobby has to cancellation, and it didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't even slow it down.
No.
I'm going to throw myself into the fire pit here because look at all the shit.
You want us to cancel you to make you more money?
No, but in fairness, there was some stupid shit that went on with Platinum. And I took it for that I knew them better than what was being put out there and all of this and spoke up on their behalf, right? So I was an idiot for that. But people still, to Eric's point and to this, this example here, even with all that stupid shit, people still went there every night and was throwing money. You know what finally got them away? Was them owing freaking $1 million or whatever it is to Blowout.
Yep.
That's finally what pushed them away.
That's the point, though. It was the money that actually did it.
Yeah.
It's not. So, Eric, like I said, I understood your point, but it's not the mean words. All the mean words don't actually matter if somebody else is still ponying up the cash. Whatnot. I joked about it, but it's true. We could have a Whatnot scam of the week. We could literally weekly be like, hey, here's a different, and by the way, we don't have to overlap people. We can pick different people every week.
No,
It could be like, so now here's this person, and here's the scam they ran this week on Whatnot. Here's the Whatnot scam of the week. And we could have a jingle, and we could have the whole thing, and we could do this every single week and not repeat. And the company continues to roll on, and people continue to use it, and people continue to spend money on the platform. So the people are speaking with the wallets. In the example you're talking about, Eric, is it tells me that person didn't actually have support in the first place, because the only way you can be canceled is if no one actually gives a shit about you. Sorry to break it to them. I don't care what you did or what you said. It's actually who gives a shit about you and who doesn't. Because if enough people give a shit about you, then they'll still throw you money, and then you are uncancelable. It's not actually possible. It's almost fiction that it's possible. It's only possible if you don't have a leg to stand on. But these other folks will do all kinds of bad shit, be canceled 1,000 times, and it doesn't matter. The train rolls on.
Yeah, I think it all has to do with the public's ability to make money off the bad guy. And if they can make, like this situation, I'm going to keep going to backyard breaks, buying their cards, flipping them myself, and making money. I don't care what they do.
That's what I'm getting at, Eric. So my point is, it doesn't matter what people say. The question was, what do people do?
Right.
And the reality was, they had a stronger base than I think a lot of people understood. And that base was willing to continue to spend money. It didn't matter what they said. It didn't matter what they did. And they kept spending money.
Take that shit that happened earlier this year away. And what was it, 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago? You would have thought that, and this was early Whatnot days, the Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, when they took the card. Yeah.
Like that whole big shebang. And
yeah, that was 1,000 controversies ago when they were smaller. When they were smaller, and that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So a message was sent. A message was sent when they were much smaller and less insulated. It didn't stop. The train kept rolling, and it just kept going and going and going, and they continue to be there to this very day. So it's one of those things where, and going back to the Probstein example, we literally are watching it in real time. Probstein, it's not like people love Probstein. By the way, to be clear, here's a better example. It's not like anybody who, I would love you to find me a single person in this hobby who actually loves Probstein. Well, other than you, Eric.
No,
other than you, Eric.
Mastro.
Yeah, and maybe Big Bri. Maybe Big Bri. Big Bri's a fan of his. But I'm saying, like, but I'm being serious. Like, realistically, the list of people who actually love him personally, like, oh man, he's the best. He's a great guy. It's a very small list. It's not a big list, but it didn't matter. We have a data. Again, we got two. I separate them, Brandon, because we got the one that's still in progress. We're working out the details. Mm-hmm. But then we got the other one we're all confident in. We're like pretty much locked in. Data breach, we're all confident. We're locked in. I think we're all in agreement. I don't think there's any dissenting opinions here. That is an issue too, by the way. That's still a problem. That's still a really big. What are the consequences so far? So far, Eric, nothing. The other one, the show bidding controversy and all that, work in progress. People are getting the details and working it out. Obviously, if you ask a lot of us what our opinion is, yeah, we're pretty confident there's some shadiness. There's smoke. Let's put it this. There's a lot of smoke over there. Lots of smoke happening.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the reality is, Eric, both those things included, millions of dollars worth of consignments on eBay as soon as he ran back to eBay.
Yep.
So what's the lesson? What is the lesson that is being taught when these things happen and people come back? What is the lesson?
It's a reflection of the space and the consequences that happened when the negative,
or lack thereof.
Well,
lack of consequences.
The lack of consequence, and the fact, and we've said it kind of, in jest, or it seems repetitive when these things happen, and it's sad, honestly, but it's why the adoption of the statement of "it doesn't affect me" or "the hobby will forget" exists, because there isn't the consequences that happen. And so until there are consequences, which is highly unlikely that it'll ever be, these things will continue, and it becomes the norm. Like, we have a long list of things this year, and guess what? 2026 is probably going to produce another long list of shenanigans. And that's, it's unfortunate, but I think we've all grown to understand and realize this, and we've discussed it. You got to pick your own, your own map, your own way to navigate through this space to have fun. And, hopefully you don't step in too many, landmines. So
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say I wanted
that's
to.
for clarity though. That's one reason why, and I've done it a couple times. I've been open to discussing the part in the past, even though it is the past, but I was at fault to it, and I understand that. And it took me a little bit to realize it, but I'm glad that I did, because it was being held as a reflection by some folks, but I wanted understood that, we all can make mistakes, but it's a matter of whether you learn from them. And so that's why, I'm willing to admit I fucked up, and that's that. But you can learn from it. It can be a lesson.
Mm, mm. That's fair. That's very self-reflective of you. I appreciate that at the end of the year. So Eric, as kind of Brandon is trying to teach the way, I'll come back to a serious topic in a second. But as Brandon is trying to teach the way, this is where you, Eric, can look deep into your soul and understand that Pink Floyd is good music, and you should maybe have mayonnaise. These are things you could improve yourself in 2026.
Horrible, and don't say the second thing ever again.
So this is coming from the Kiss fan. Are you sure you even know how to spell music, let alone know what it is?
I do not like Pink Floyd. I change the station every single time. I could bring Michelle in here right now. You could ask her, what does Eric do every time he hears Pink Floyd? She will tell you. Immediately changes.
We need to start 2026 off with a bang. We need to cancel Eric. After the wholehearted, heartfelt begging of association as a Hall of Fame adjacency, he is now hating on Pink. That's got to be why he doesn't like Pink Floyd, because it's Pink. It's okay, Eric. Just admit it.
Wow.
It's fine.
I don't have an opinion one way or another about Pink, the other singer. I don't have an opinion one way or another. But
Eric, we will deal with some of these proclivities of yours on Friday. We will address some of these other issues.
By the way,
we will address some of these other issues on Friday. We'll get back to that. All right. Bottom line, though, is that, to be clear, that last segment was we're not trying to solve anything, but I do want to make it. I felt it was worthwhile, though, to point out the sheer number of things as I went through the list month by month throughout and I was just scratching the surface. I was just touching on the very highest level, because individually through the course of the year, we discussed other controversies and other questions and issues, and every 5 minutes was the end of the hobby. We didn't even discuss CT scanning, which I think initially was last year, but obviously it cropped up a couple of times throughout the course of the year. But rigged boxes, this issue, that issue, this thing, that, and
those are yearly.
I stuck at the absolute high level. That's why I was very clear. I stuck at the high level, just stuff that made the headline, like on the title of the channel, because obviously on the Friday live, we'll talk about whatever. It'll go through the course of the year. But my point is, even at the high level, Eric, I still read through a lot of lines of stuff, even going at high level and avoiding the minutia of the particular week by week. Because if I wanted to, Eric, I could go week by week, and we could literally we'd be here for the next 3 hours, just going through week by week, little subheadings of all the different things that were discussed through the course of the year. But the takeaway, and this has been the takeaway for years now, and at the end of 2025, it hasn't been solved. The issue remains. Rule number 1 and rule number 2 are undefeated. The hobby continues, and the lesson has been. Go ahead, Brandon.
We didn't mention the biggest controversy of the podcast in 2025.
Of the podcast.
It's not a controversy.
Yeah, he already knows what it is.
It's not a controversy. It's fact.
Then what is?
You're going to bring it up right now. That proves my point yet again.
It got the comment section rolling. Therefore, thus must be controversy.
Go ahead, Brandon. You know what to do. Lay it out.
The take of a goat.
You want to keep bringing him up. He's the GOAT. A day does not go by that people don't talk about Jeff Wilson being the GOAT. Therefore, Jeff Wilson's the GOAT.
I'm just making sure, Brandon, that going forward, whenever this happens, I just leave Eric on the screen all by himself.
Yep.
Because we cannot let Brandon, we cannot afford the cancellations that Eric is getting. We cannot afford them.
It would be interesting to know if that
on the show.
episode.
Cancel me.
No, Eric, the problem is if you get canceled, then the show becomes just you. That's your punishment.
No, we don't want that.
It's just you.
Nope.
24/7.
Did that episode have the most comments?
Listen. I will promise this. I will promise this. I will donate $1,000 to Ray Bourque's Family Foundation if you can show me one hobby channel in 2025 that did not mention Jeff Wilson's name.
Wait, you said one hobby channel?
Yeah.
Okay, TG Mac.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Oh,
I'll give you a link to the YouTube. He doesn't talk about anything related to current events. He doesn't bring up the current events at all. You said hobby channel. You didn't say hobby news channel.
No backtrack it.
Whatever.
1,000 to Ray.
Eric, hand over the 1,000 to Bourque.
Okay. They're every single state channel like ours. All they do is talk.
Oh, no. There was no like ours. You said hobby channel.
Hobby channel. Okay?
Brandon, he said hobby channel. He didn't say hobby news channel. He didn't say hobby podcast channel. He didn't say channel. He didn't say channel.
Probably talked about him.
He didn't say channel the Man of Peace. He didn't say, Brandon, there was no qualifiers. He said, name me one hobby channel. One hobby channel. So
He didn't say give a list. He just said one.
Dude, I can still give him a list because there's a bunch of people that just show their pickups. They don't give a crap about anything else. That's easy. Like, this is a piece of cake. Bobby Burrell's channel. No mention of Geoff. Sorry. Ryan McClanahan. History something shortcut. The name escapes me. That one doesn't talk about Geoff. He only talks about the past. He literally only talks about the past. There's no Geoff in the past, Eric. How many more channels you want? I just gave you 3. You want some more? I can keep going. So give the $1,000 to Bourque. Congratulations, Zombie Ray Bourque. You just got a free $1,000. You're welcome. Make sure to put it in my name, Eric. I earned that $1,000 so fast. Winner. Right there.
Winner.
1 second. Hold on. I want to make sure I get this. Let me see if I can find it here. I was actually looking for one other thing. I had it on here. They got rid of it, maybe. No, wait. No, they didn't. Sorry. That was the easiest $1,000 ever earned for charity ever, Brandon. That was easy. Next time, challenge me, Eric. At least make it interesting.
I stand by what I said.
Well, you just lost $1,000 standing by. So
That's fine. Everyone knows what I mean, and I stand by it. People cannot keep that guy's name out of their mouth, and that's why he's the GOAT.
Brandon, see, I made money for charity. We covered, the 2025, year in review. That was pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Man.
And Pink Floyd is a great band. So screw you, Eric.
Sucks.
All right. So real quick, let's finish off on this. I want to talk a little bit about, so that's 2025. And obviously we could talk about a bunch of other stuff too, because there's plenty, but let's start off with this. We'll have more time to discuss that on the New Year's Eve episode anyway. 2026. So going into 2026, anything changing? Any plans? This could be YouTube, Brandon. This could be hobby-wise. Staying the course, changing up anything. More Jason Robertson, less Jason Robertson, equivalent amount of Jason Robertson. What are we doing?
Yeah, Brandon, go ahead. Tell us.
I would like to get back. I was doing good for a bit, doing videos and stuff. So I do want to. I need to be held accountable. I might make my wife hold me accountable. She's been doing TikToks and stuff, so maybe I'll make a deal with her on that. But to do more videos and stuff. As far as the collecting, I have some sets that I would like to finish. Hopefully, our friends over at ComC can get things fixed, because some of the sets I would like to utilize them for, because it's stuff that's real cheap and I don't want to pay individual shipping on eBay. Outside of that, it's mostly stay the course. I reflected last week and went through and looked at my eBay buys, and I actually was talking to Dakota about this. I thought I had spent a lot more money this year than I did, and that's always a good thing when you look at what you've been able to get. And I've been extremely happy with my pickup. I think you guys, seeing me in person and seeing that I actually was kind of focused at even the expo, never being there, but I knew what I was looking for. Um, that has been a blessing, really, and more relaxing and more enjoyable to not be all over the place. Have a map, know what you're looking for, know what you're going after. And I think you can be happier with your collection because you're picking up pieces that you want, not just stuff to have. And so there's still, some things I would like to get if I see them come up. But yeah, just keeping it simple, and going after the things that I actually want. So.
Mm. And how about you, Eric? Now, does being $1,000 lighter now that Zombie Ray Borg is getting at least $1,000 from you, does that change any of your plans, or is it staying?
He's going to work tomorrow, that's for sure.
I'm gonna. I was thinking about not going to work, and now I'm definitely going to work.
Yeah, you're 1,000 in the hole as far as we're aware. So go on.
I hate to give you a boring answer, but I don't plan on changing anything. I've been doing just staying in my lane, doing my thing the way I do it since 1988. I have no plans on changing. I'm going to collect vintage hockey. I'm going to collect what I like, how I like it. Stay in my financial lane. Also, I still see people every single day come into the shop and just destroy their budgets, max out credit cards. I see some real bad stuff sometimes, and I'm just gonna keep doing things the way I've been doing things. It's simple. I enjoy it. There's no sense changing.
I see. Some would suggest being in a jam. A lot of jam.
Yeah, you don't want to get yourself into a jam. But I'm not going to start collecting modern. I'm not cracking boxes. I'm not going to start using grading services.
Eric, what about ingrained icons, Reggie Lemon and Minimum?
Those have all three have been purchased. I got the autograph. I got the serial numbered and the base. It's all coming in.
You understand that's all modern, right?
It's Reggie Lumlin. It doesn't count. Shut up.
Okay, whatever you say, Mr. 24, 25, not modern, whatever you say. Anyway, so yeah. So YouTube wise, I think a lot of it is going to stay very similar, Brandon. The podcast itself, I think the podcast has been going well, and Eric has spoken of his desire to do it in perpetuity. So contractually, he's also obligated. So honestly, and we get comments from the luminaries like Refractor Jones. So honestly, I see no reason to change anything as far as the podcast is concerned.
He was a big part of why this exists. So Eric, you can thank him as well, because I enjoyed my time getting to do the podcast with him. And obviously there was more important things that he needed to tend to. And I miss doing it. I miss having the conversation. And so that's why I approached you. I knew you were doing the standalone, singular BIC pods, but I didn't know if you ever wanted to branch it out. But it was literally me missing having the conversations with him and stuff. So that's why I ask about it. So
yeah. And Eric has no life, so here he is.
I will add him as a defendant to the court papers. No problem.
Yeah. And Eric has nothing better to do, so. And perpetuity. So there's that. So podcast wise, I expect that to continue. The Friday live stream remains the flagship of the channel. Longest running episodic, whatever it is. And bonus points. I did mention this already briefly, but I'll repeat it. The New Year's Eve live stream, Brandon, will be precisely. And this year has been great about hitting things on the dot, like to the dot. The New Year's Eve episode on the last day of the year is precisely 1,900 days since the streak of live streams every single week began. The longest running episodic, whatever it is. Exactly 1,900 days, Brandon. Not 1899, not 1901, 1900 on the dot. On the track to 2000 plus. In perpetuity.
Oh.
The road to 2000 begins December 31st, 2025, Brandon. It begins. The road to 2000 plus.
I don't wanna.
And beyond. Eric will repent his sins. His hobby sins, his life sins, all the sins. So many sins.
I don't want.
Nope. Doesn't matter what you want, Eric. Like the rest of your life, we don't care what you want. We're going to do what we're going to do. Now, aside from that, Brandon, I think there'll be some collaborations. I think that's something that I'd like to make sure I do a little bit more of. We're going to continue a lot of the stuff we've been doing previously, but also I would like to incorporate some of these elements. This is something that it's a hobby within a hobby. It's something that I enjoy for its own sake. But I do want to, believe it or not, I feel like this year, for the most part, even though I've enjoyed myself clearly, I've been on a lot of cruise control this year. I've been kind of just chilling, doing my thing a little at a time. But I do want to see if I can incorporate some elements to it. I'm still percolating on what that's going to look like. I'm figuring it out. We're going to work on it. But I'm kicking around some things. I haven't fully decided where I want to go with this. Maybe I'll have some more answers by the time I do the year-end review, the official year-end review video. That'll be kind of the last video of 2025. But this will be obviously the podcast episode, and then the live stream will be its own thing right at the end of the year. So I'm going to percolate on the next day or two and see what I come up with. But I do want to do some new stuff. I want to incorporate some other elements, including what's already there, but then adding a couple of things in there, just to sprinkle a little in there.
Maybe subtracting some things or people.
I think maybe we just do more episodes with Eric. I just put him on the screen just by himself for like an hour at a time.
Playing a kazoo.
Yeah, that'd be great. For like an hour, 2 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, 30 hours.
On loop.
But except not even loop.
Playing
It's just Eric just
Pink
being there.
Floyd on the
Oh.
kazoo.
Ooh, Eric Pink Floyd music reviews.
Suck. That's
Wish
it.
You Were Here. Amazing. Dark Side of the Moon. Incredible.
Same as the last song.
The
Suck.
Wall. Sensation.
All sound the
Sensational.
same. Suck.
Love it. Love it. All right. So why don't we finish off on this thing, gentlemen? I don't want to deprive you. So this is your moment. I will mostly refrain, although with Brandon's, I'll at least touch on a couple of things. So why don't we start with Eric's? We'll deal with the intolerableness. Eric, one of your garbage teams actually managed to do a thing. So this is your moment. What do you want to say on behalf of your not actual team? Because we know it's only the Boston Bruins that you care about. The Red Sox you don't give a shit about, and the Patriots you don't really care about either. But you're going to pretend for the sake of this conversation. So why not? Go ahead. What do you got for us?
A F C East champions. Thank you.
You know, back in the day, Brandon, when the greatest autographer this side of the Mississippi, Thomas Edward Patrick Beavis Butthead Brady,
Baby. Tom Baby.
the greatest autograph in the world. Now, obviously, the good autograph only comes to people that are worthy. You know, trailer park trash that Eric knows, they get nothing. The important part is that they were winning the AFC East like I think they won 2 or 3 AFC East titles per year. I think they actually broke it up into multiple pieces and they won each of those. And Eric is acting like we're supposed to be impressed that they won a division title. Ooh, division.
I think the only reason they got it is because Mahomes hurt his knee.
Well, he's not in the division.
It doesn't matter. It's the NFL. It's
the
NFL.
butterfly effect of him hurting his knee, like
And
it
since
reverberated all the way through.
He wasn't playing. Okay,
Yeah,
Patriots get it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want, Eric, before we tear you apart, or is that good enough for you?
The last couple of years has been really tough to watch, having Cam Newton come in and just embarrass, everything.
Gerard Mayo is your coach, though.
Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, that was a highlight. That was a golden era too.
Belichick going completely.
We had Mayo Mondays.
Oh, so good. I miss Mayo Mondays, Brandon. Mayo Mondays was the best.
Belichick going senile and going insane. Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi.
Mac Jones was fine for a season.
I'm a huge Mac Jones supporter. He should never have left here. And I could go on and on about how Belichick screwed him over 6 ways from Sunday. But to have the franchise back where it should be.
Where it should be.
Yes. because
Until 2000, that franchise was trailer park trash,
you didn't let me
bottom
finish.
feeding garbage.
You didn't let me finish.
Uh-huh.
Because that's where it should be, with Rabel leading the way and getting away from what the majority of my Patriots fandom was like. Okay. All these young kids are all like, oh, I can't believe the Patriots suck, man. It's like, well, listen, because you were born with Tom Brady as your quarterback. I had Steve Grogan, which was awesome, but he wasn't like Hall of Fame awesome. Then we had Tony Eason. Then we had, Tommy Hodson and Hugh Millen and Doug Flutie. And I mean, it went on and on and on until Bledsoe finally showed up and with Bill Parcells and brought the team, had given some team the credibility that it needed. All right. So the majority of my life, the Patriots were effing horrible. And we saw that the last 3 seasons that they were getting back to that direction. Nobody, I don't care if you are a football genius, no one thought they would be 13-3 right now. Nobody. We were praying for a 500 season. If they went 500, every New England fan would have been stoked. It would have been wicked awesome.
If Bledsoe didn't get hurt, Eli Manning wouldn't have 2 rings.
It is true.
Okay.
It is true. I like to think about the alternate world where Drew Bledsoe was allowed to fulfill his destiny and the Patriots would have 10, 12, 13 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They had to settle
for
mediocrity.
If it wasn't for Drew Bledsoe, they would not have won their first Super Bowl because he's the one that beat Pittsburgh because Brady was hurt.
Indeed.
So Brandon, the AFC Championship.
So Brandon, now is your moment. Just when you thought they were out, to drag you back in.
I seen one of the Ravens players post the perfect image that you would appreciate. The Undertaker getting up off the mat and rising from being down. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to win, but if there was any opponent that I could choose to play the final week of the season and decide whether or not we make the playoffs, I am happy it is Pittsburgh, because I've always said the Ravens, they could have the worst year, the worst season, but if we beat Pittsburgh, it was a success. So if we're going to have to win the final week to get in and knock Pittsburgh out, I want to play them. So I'm looking forward to it. We got Aaron Rodgers, which obviously has the Green Bay connection and the Jets connection and the darkness and God knows what else. Which Aaron Rodgers will show up. Now, I don't know which quarterback the Ravens are going to have. That will be an interesting one as well. So there's been some struggles with Lamar against Pittsburgh. So maybe if he takes a week off, it may not be the worst of things because the team looked pretty good this past week. But we'll see. Either way, it's been a crappy season. So if we do make the playoffs, I don't have high expectations, but it would be fun to beat Pittsburgh and send them out of the playoffs.
Indeed. Yeah. So overall, I think from an entertainment perspective, it's good that the Ravens are hanging in there because that'll be kind of funny. Obviously, from a Packers fan standpoint, I didn't enjoy it nearly as much. So I was doing a little bit of addition, Eric. I did a little bit of the maths. You'll appreciate that. I'm sure.
We don't like that.
Oh, no, I got to do the maths. So just out of curiosity, just for fun, I have the injury report going into the Ravens game. How many names do you think the Packers had on the injury report going into the Ravens game?
13.
Prior to the Ravens game. By the way, in the Ravens game, 2 guys were carted off. So I'm not counting those because they were injured during the Ravens game. So going into the Ravens game, how many names are on the injury report list?
My number is 13.
I'm going to go with 12.
19. There were 19 names on the injury list, including the starter and the backup quarterback. The backup quarterback who did play and got hurt during that game. They were considering going with the third string. The guards, cornerbacks, running back, defensive line, wide receivers, tight end, several levels of them. So basically there's a couple more injuries, Eric, and I think they might have started you. That's about where they were. No. So that's basically where they were at that point. So I'm not surprised because at that point, the Ravens' strategy was give it to Derrick Henry, let him run. By the way, Derrick Henry did a great job. It's not a question. But it's also like everybody in the stadium knew what they were going to do, and they couldn't stop it anyway. It didn't really matter. Because I think, what's his name? Who was the backup in the Baltimore for quarterback? His name, I forget him right now.
I forgot it too.
Well, it doesn't matter. He threw for.
It's not Josh Johnson.
Yeah, he threw for 100 yards. Anyway, the point is he threw for 100 yards. It was the running game. It was 300 yards on the ground. It was 300 yards on the ground. Derrick Henry had 4 touchdowns and 200 plus yards by himself. So it's gonna be very interesting. Now the end result of that, Eric, is that basically because of that, is it Huntley? Todd Huntley?
Tyler Huntley, yeah. He went 16 20.
I was close. I said Hurley.
Yeah. Was that?
I said
he went 16 of 20 and he had 60 yards rushing. Let's not discredit him too much.
It's on the ground. It's all on the ground. It was pretty much just run the damn ball. That's basically what happened. If you go check out the time of possession, you're left because it was basically just run the ball, control the clock.
Well, you guys had a really quick 70-some yard touchdown right off the gate too.
Malik Willis is good. Malik Willis is actually quite good. So if you're going to have your starter off, like Malik Willis is more than capable. Like the good news for Malik Willis is that he's earned himself next year. He's going to get offers. There's going to be a bunch of teams because there's some bad quarterback play in the NFL, Eric. Some bad quarterback play.
They have grandfather in.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, but that what I'm getting at, Eric, is that you don't think that Malik Willis he was hurt going into that game and he was also sick going into that game. And he still had like 280 yards, almost 290 yards. And he got hurt during the game. But the point is, like, he'll recover, injury-wise, he'll recover. He's earned himself a contract, Eric. He's going to get offers. Some folks are going to be like, well, we'd love to have you either as a backup. You want to compete for the starting job? Like, there's enough bad quarterback play in the NFL right now that there's a bunch of teams where like, you seem competent. You seem like you can throw the ball. You can run the ball. There's things you can do. Like, we'll take that.
Yep.
He's like, we'll take that. That sounds good. That seems good. So, I think Malik Willis earned himself a contract. And I think what's funny is a lot of the Packer fans are like going to be very happy for him because he's done the job. Like he's more than done the job. We would love to have him back, but the reality is like he's going to get at least an opportunity to compete for starting.
Will you be happy for him if he goes to Minnesota? Because they need a quarterback.
They need a lot of things, but yeah. It's going to be up to Malik Willis. The thing is, the reality is that when you play well enough that you deserve. The reality is Minnesota. Look, in a lot of ways, it'd be if they bring in Malik Willis, and he ends up the starter for the JJ McCarthy, which totally could happen. Some ways that would screw over Minnesota because they're like, wait, so you need Green Bay's backup because your situation is so dire.
We made fun of him when he was with New York, but you have to compliment Sam Darnold. He played lights out for Minnesota, and then they ship him off and go with JJ. And what does he do in Seattle? The same thing he did in Minnesota. So
he did a proximity of it. Like if you actually go look at the numbers, like. He's good, but you know what's funny? If I'm gonna do wagering, Brandon, I would look forward to betting against Sam Darnold because it's one of those things where like he's playing well, but he also likes to cough up the football at inopportune moments because it's now the higher leverage games are happening. He's starting to cough it up a lot more.
I'm talking though
Super Bowl.
He's one of what I think I've seen one of 5 players to have back-to-back 13-win seasons, and he did it with 2 different teams. And
I understand. Look,
other
Brandon, I'm not discounting this, but I was having this conversation with Dakota, and I'm sitting there going like, the last 2 seasons, he has 27 wins. The last 2 seasons, which if you think about it, is phenomenal. Like it's phenomenal. You can't deny this. It's phenomenal. With 2 different teams. That's extremely impressive. But like, and I asked Dakota, do you trust him? And Dakota says yes. And I go, oh, this could turn out, this could be like a Hindenburg ending, because like
I'm not saying he's going to take Seattle to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying you have to commend him on, okay, in the situation, Minnesota, and then looking at what Justin Jefferson has done this year, which has been absolutely nothing. I mean, poor guy.
I was wondering what you were going to go with there, because I'm like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, but Justin Jefferson, like, and it's not even his fault. He's had shit quarterback play, and he's struggling to hit 1,000 yards. We're talking about Justin Jefferson. Right. And then you have Darnold going, had a great season with Minnesota last year. They ship him off to Seattle, and now you have that Jackson, whatever his last name is. I'm not going to pretend to pronounce it. And he's like the best receiver in the league this year. So obviously he's got something there that he's capable enough to perform, get wins, and these receivers are performing at a high level as well. You remove him, and JJ's had his worst season since he's came into the league. And, so I'm not saying he's going to be a Super Bowl champion or anything like that. I'm saying I commend him on being a laughing stock with the Jets, going to Minnesota, having a great season, and then going to Seattle, having a great season. Will he make the Super Bowl? You got some competition there, but he's done well the last 2 years.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I guess my question would be the following. Again, I'm very happy for Sam Darnold that he's been able to find himself a situation, and he's doing well with it. But I'm also looking at the stats right in front of me, and he has about 500-600 less yards so far, 1 game to go, 10 less touchdowns, 2 more interceptions, and the reality is he's looked bad the last couple of weeks. The team's good, but I guess here's what it comes down to: what if he finishes 27 wins the last 2 seasons? Goes into the first playoff game, coughs up 3 or 4 interceptions, and they lose anyway. They're one and done. Again, because that's what happened basically with Minnesota. They were 14-3. Great season. Phenomenal season. 35 touchdowns, 4,300 yards. This year he's 3,850 yards, 25 touchdowns. That's 10 less than last year. I don't think he's getting 10 touchdowns in the last game. He already has 2 more interceptions than last year. He's still playing well. To be clear, Eric, these are still good numbers. They're not bad numbers. They're still good numbers. It's still a 2-to-1 ratio. It's, less than 2-to-1. But it's almost 2-to-1 ratio of touchdowns to interceptions. Still good. Obviously, comfortably more touchdowns. But the yards are down a little bit. He's got another game. I don't know how much they're going to try to kill themselves to try to do much craziness in the last game. I don't think they're going to go off necessarily. Yeah. But let's say he gets to 4,000 yards. That's good. And then maybe another touchdown or 2. That'd be great. But then, again, when it comes to the last 2 seasons are the only 2 seasons that he's had 20 or more touchdowns. He started in 2018. Previous high was 19. The last 2 seasons he's been able to. Sam Darnold's demonstrated that he is not a bad quarterback, because there's bad quarterbacks. Oh, no. But there is still a difference between a good quarterback who, with the right situation, the right personnel and everything, he can do some pretty impressive things. And then the one that will take you over the hump. Because if they get to the playoffs, Brandon, if they win 13 or 14 games, Brandon, they get to the playoffs and they're one and done, what did that do for you?
Well, I think my point here isn't that he's going to be like, again, to reiterate, I'm not saying he's going to win the Super Bowl.
No, but I'm going to the other extreme, Brandon. But I'm going to the other extreme, Brandon. I'm saying, what if he's a one and done? For the second straight year, good team, good numbers, one and done.
I mean, shit happens. It's the playoffs, right?
No, I get you. But I'm saying the last couple of weeks, it's like the wheels are wobbly. The wheels haven't fallen off, but they're just a little wobbly.
You're taking this now to the playoffs. I'm taking this to the point of, I think he is a great example that a good quarterback, I'm not saying he's great, but a good quarterback can look like shit on the wrong team. You put him with a decent team, and that good quarterback looks good. And we see this too many times in the NFL where these guys get drafted. To be honest, Sam Darnold could have been another wasted pick, right? And washed away. He could have been a Josh Rosen. And I'm saying this because Rosen even could have had potential. He could have had potential with the right team. And I think this is a good example of chemistry, talent around you, and all of that. And these teams constantly pick these guys top pick, top 5 pick, and then they get to a team that ain't got shit around them, and we're expecting the sun and moon from them, and it just ain't going to happen. But if they get the chance with good talent around them, I've always said, especially in the hobby where everybody's placing the quarterbacks on a pedestal, I've always said wide receivers are undervalued because the quarterback is only good as the person catching the ball.
I hear what you're saying.
What Mac Jones' record is this year? Didn't he win like 6 games?
He was playing. Yeah, he was playing. He played a chunk of the season with San Francisco.
In what, San Francisco, I believe?
Yeah, he was with San Francisco right now.
A decent team.
9 games, starting 8, with 2,151 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It's like he had a passer rating of 97.4. I mean, the guy's a former Pro Bowler, and then Belichick just decided, I don't like this kid anymore, and just killed him here. And he went to Jacksonville, was a backup there, didn't do much. Ends up in San Francisco and is like running the show while Purdy's out. And the fact that Mac Jones isn't a starting quarterback in the NFL with all these badass quarterbacks that are around blows my mind.
Let's look at it another angle. And being a Ravens fan, I'm going to go down this route. And if Dakota gets this far, because I know he does listen to the podcast, but let's look at CJ Stroud. Awesome rookie campaign. Gotten some weapons on the team at wide receiver and everything. But let's be honest, that Texans defense is a huge reason of why they've been successful this year. I don't know that they would be where they are without that defense. And then we would be talking, okay, is CJ Stroud a bust after his great rookie season? Jaden Daniels, we all knew everybody was jumping the gun quick there. I mean, look what he did this year. Obviously, there was injuries there, but I mean, you got to have the pieces around. It's not one player as a savior. And that was my point with Darnold. You put him in good situations, he can look like a different quarterback than the Jets' Sam Darnold. Is he an MVP? Is he a Super Bowl champion? I'm not going to that extreme. I'm just saying he is a decent quarterback with players around him. And I'm commending leaving New York, going right into Minnesota, having a successful year there, going over to Seattle and having a successful year there. So
we also have to include kind of the stops in between, because he did also have after leaving the Jets, he did also have a little run in Carolina. Yeah. So not a good situation there.
Reiterate, a good team.
I understand, but I'm just saying, let's not pretend that he went from the Jets and suddenly things improved. It was like he went to another team. It's like,
Carolina's still better than the Jets.
Yeah. Well, they are, but it's not like it helped. It's not like it helped Darnold. Like he didn't suddenly become great.
Obviously, I'm a Patriots fan. Okay, and I think they're wonderful and all that. But did you see what they did to the Jets? The Jets are so freaking bad. The Patriots just destroyed them,
which is amazing because the Jets had drafted and got a lot of good young talent on that team. It is amazing at how bad they are with the players. If you looked at their roster, you would think, okay, this team's going to be good. And they have just...
The Patriots aren't that good, okay? The Patriots aren't good to destroy another professional football team. They're not there yet. They're good enough to beat other professional football teams, but they're not good enough to destroy one. The Jets are that bad that the Patriots just destroyed them.
And by the way, Brandon, I will have you stop throwing shade and disrespecting the NFC South leading Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
Look, Eric was talking about division winners, and right now Carolina is the top of the NFC South with their 8-8 record. Let me tell you,
Yes,
sir.
That shows a lot.
Champs, hats and t-shirt. Hats and
Let's see.
Right
What do we
there.
have? The Saints,
AFC
the
East.
Falcons, Carolina.
The Buccaneers are the ones who screwed the pooch because if
Baker did go on a cold
Baker went in the tank, like maybe
Yeah.
he's hurt again, but he went in the like honestly, Tampa. This should have been Tampa Bay's division for the taking. Like
Yeah, they
that should have been there for
started
the
hot.
taking.
Yeah.
They should have been for the taking, and they absolutely went in the tank. They went in the toilet, straight to the toilet. But the Carolina Panthers are leading that division, Brandon. The division leading Carolina Panthers. Where's the respect, Brandon?
Yeah.
Eric,
The Patriots
they scored.
have the Dolphins and the Jets in their division, so it's basically a
Well,
two-team
listen,
race.
I don't even count. I don't even count the Patriots division titles because again, they played those teams. The Panthers have 297 points for, 364 against. They're like a minus 70 in point differential.
That whole division's probably in the minus, isn't it?
Oh, Eric. Oh,
Oh.
it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, Tampa's almost even. They got 364 points for, 397 against. They're
Yeah, the
closer.
whole damn division is red.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I can see that. Oh, that's amazing. I love every part of it. It makes me happy. Indeed. Well, on that bombshell.
The Jets are only a negative 176.
Yeah. Basically, it's all there. It's all there for the taking. So,
The
if
Raiders
it helps
are worse.
there's always somebody worse. Yes. There's always somebody worse. All right. So with that said, that's it. Back in 2026 with more episodes. Eric is personally committed to the next 35 years of episodes. So it's good to know.
No.
I didn't think he needed to commit that far in advance, but he already did. So
No.
by his own volition.
86-year-old Eric is going to be pretty spicy.
Oh, I think he might stop caring about what people think about him.
Can we get AI to do
When
that?
did I start?
Oh, Eric, you care more than anyone ever. Like the amount of text messages I get from you, like Carlos, do you think they'll be okay with that? It's like, Eric, for the love of God, stop. Just stop.
Really?
All the time.
Oh.
I am willing to produce all those text messages, Eric, and let me tell you, some of the stuff you included in there, the things you said about Marcel Dion, I'm pretty sure that'll get you canceled. There are parts of Quebec you will not be welcome or allowed within 500 miles of.
Oh, first of all, I have no problem with that.
The problem is that 500 miles briefly extends as we keep expanding the circle. And the problem is 500 miles around Marcel Dion. So if he goes stateside, you're going to have to leave Massachusetts. You're going to have to leave the state.
Marcel is my friend, and he
He won't be your friend after he finds out what you said about him.
and I on the Friday show, he texted me live on the show, and it's real. He really is my friend.
Brandon, Eric said that, but we didn't see the text message.
Yes, you did.
Hold on. Beep. Oh, hey, it's my good friend, Wayne Gretzky. Oh, Gordie Howe texted me. That's really impressive. Like, I'm doubly impressed. Like,
Nope, now
Oh.
you're just being mean.
well, Gordie Howe thinks you're a piece of shit too. Damn. And he thinks Pink Floyd is great, by the way. Damn.
Nope, now you're just being mean.
Wow. Whew. Hold on. Wait, this is the custodial service. Oh, Peter Forsberg also thinks you're a piece of shit. Damn.
I never said Peter Forsberg was my friend. I said I was hanging out with him. That's
Well,
why-
Peter Forsberg's my friend. He messaged me and told me you're a piece of shit.
Do you
Your
hang out
music
with
taste-
strangers?
I was going to say, you creepy bastard.
he was my friend until I met him that day. I mean, I
Wow.
was a stranger until I met him.
Wow.
He was my friend until I met him.
Until I
That
met
happened
him.
to us, too. That happened.
We've
to us.
Wow. It's like, I hate IKEA. And Peter Forsberg's like, we are not friends.
I do.
Moving
hate
on that bombshell. That is it for 2025. Thank you all. Have a happy new year. Enjoy. Happy prosperous new year. Again, we'll be back. Regular episodes, more videos coming up on the channel. Friday live streams, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, longest running episodic, whatever it is. Although, special programming note for the New Year's Eve episode, the special New Year's Eve episode, it will have a special start time, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to start later because we are going to go into the new year. We will go into next year. So we're going to start an hour later. So all placeholders and everything will be on the channel. You will get a cast of characters. There may be some spicy people, spicy eye people that may join us. Some folks from the West Coast, some folks from the East Coast, and all things in between. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? Who knows what cast of characters may join us?
And we'll raise the money for charity. So open up your pocketbooks and let's help some people.
Indeed. So that's it. Brandon Bobbles and Ball Cards don't associate 540 flips. Eric in the Cave of Crap. He also calls himself a coach, and he believes that cycling, which is really an exercise, is somehow a sport. Tell him he's wrong in the comment section. Because if that's a sport, so is push-ups. So is sit-ups. So is pull-ups. Everything's a sport, Brandon. Everything's a sport, Brandon. Everything's a sport. That's it. Have yourselves a good 2025. Catch you in 2026. Take it easy.